Right, we're back. In fact, earlier today, yeah, so I did mention last time that I might skip recording today, but nope, still feel up to it. So it's a long time until the next time I can record, so. Well, not that long, but still, it's enough time for me to get back into some things. Plus, I've also gone ahead and edited the drawing time lapse as well for industrial. Which means now there's one more age. Oh great, I need to figure out what the barbaric corsair is. Military advisor, barbarian. Down there, okay. I get the feeling that these barbary corsairs are actually from not actually barbarian ships, but from Sioux. So if I should defeat Sioux, then that won't be a problem anymore. Now I just need to figure out where the heck my own ships have gone. Oh. Perfect. You're the one I needed. I think you can get all the... Wait, no you can't. I should be able to get most of the way there. And then hopefully deal with whatever's there effectively. Probably should form that barley. Yeah. Okay, so from the looks of it, what you need are a bunch of 3 production buildings. Fine, the international airport. It seems mildly reasonable to actually build it. As things stand. Fine. Suffer firm. And the stuff gets a bit too expensive, so I'll leave it for later. I shall see in the future if it becomes more reasonable. Yeah. I actually didn't go through, well, in industrial music is kind of like with Renaissance, entirely base game. I don't think C2C has actually added any songs to the industrial era, because they figure that it's good enough. Of course, as soon as I react in any shape or form, the ships seem to vanish. Unless I see a barbaric corsair in the message log. Well, okay, the destroyer did get one of them. There we go. That's those 2 gone. It dealt with. There, that's the 3. So I had to pick the song. Um, and honestly, I actually, as soon as I heard it, I'm like, oh, right, this song. I actually like this one a lot. And then just went straight for it. I mean, why not? Yeah. 5 production is definitely more valuable than 3 commerce. Usually commerce from improvements is the value that's inflated the most. So. Oh, it's Honolulu. Right, we need another aircraft settler, and then... Yeah, for now, stick with modern infantry. I definitely should at least try to keep up. Which, once I can figure out which unit is the... There it is. Yeah. Because I'm sure by now there's been enough time for one of my infantry to put itself in a good position. Yeah, let's get some of these cheap money buildings out of the way. Deep sea lab. Fire suppression might be useful for something else. You still haven't built the modern earthworks. Okay. Nothing there. CRN, of course. That's what it never really had. As many buildings to build because it's not a coastal city. Oh, you know what? Walk of Fame is a good idea. Because it requires one of these. One of the wonders. So if I can build it here, I may as well build it. Okay, aluminum smith. Streetcars, electric lamps, bicycle shop, peat fire dynamo. Don't worry, that will get replaced with the biofuel some point in the future. Those, and then this. And... Nah. I can wait on the roads until later. They will be a reasonable thing to build in the future, but I'd say not yet. Can we build a lighthouse in neutral territory? And the spot is decidedly not neutral yet. I guess I can finally replace these fishing boats. They have been pillaged time and time again. Okay then, the iron mine is probably... Oh, good lord, plus 19 production with modern mine. Yep, this tile, immediately. And then I'll quarry the stone and build a barley farm. That's puree. Now that I look at it again, that feels like a Greek name, doesn't it? Oh, and I haven't built the modern offices. Okay, it's reasonable to build those. It would be a good idea to build those. And also the hospital. Chemical plants have already been built, so, and, you know, rock fuel refinery and all that. should also build an offshore platform at some point in order to get this natural gas as well. At the very least, the tile is being worked, so... Oh, satellite's done. Time to work towards Project Gemini once I actually get to the unit. Yeah, I think Beijing has at least a reasonable amount of stuff to it, so I think I can move on to the next city, at least with this set of workers. As for this one, yep, okay, that's done. Oh, time to build a tree farm. Oh! I guess that's the reason why to use modern era workers. They can't actually... Oh, okay, so they can't build the more advanced stuff. Oh, that's why sometimes I couldn't build the... Okay, so I still can't go into cislunar space, at least not with satellites. True exploration of the moon will come... Oh, actually. If I can fish a reef tile, that's the best. Because the reef plus the lighthouse actually adds quite a bit to the tile. And having a fishable resource there is even better. Anyway. Let's get these cheaper little buildings out of the way. What just happened to my mouse? Let's see here. Propose compost dump. Yeah, sure, why not? Actually, I wonder, why are these listed under can produce food? I guess the projects just always cannot be filtered out. Still seems a bit weird though. No, let's get you a national smelter. And railroad museum. To make Broadway at some point, but pick a different... I'll have to pick the city a bit more carefully. Maybe. Possibly. Okay, you also need to get that modern waterworks, so you can build that stuff. The gondola canals, and I should also get you the lab, supercomputer, and also the chemical plant for the rocket fuel refinery. Where is it? There. And hospital, because otherwise I might forget about it. Okay, road signs. Traffic signals. Telephone network. Solar photovoltaic plants. Earth mineral mines. These. Okay, and then I probably should just do the trade buildings down the line. Commercial airport. Thank you very much. What am I missing? Rock fuel refinery, yeah, I figured. And also gondola canal, so. That is a long queue, though. Especially with those buildings tacked on to the end. Okay, the engineering school is built. almost certainly the best option is the factory. It simply cannot be beat. Too many things require it, etc. Oh, jeez, right, the modern infantry. Hopefully the amphibious APC is... Okay, I mean, with wood, steel, and combat 3. Yeah, I think it can handle any potential dangers. Right, so I know I planted yeah, right, up here-ish. I'll have you airlifted to there. Yes, I'm airlifting the settler that uses aircraft to another city. There we go, new satellite in low Earth orbit. Fine. Yep, Project Gemini. Let's send you up here to do that. Project Gemini was specifically the second in the original series of NASA's manned spaceflight program. The very first one was the previously built Project Mercury. I'll handle workers and whatnot later. Just give me time. I don't care what you think, this is the best spot. There's fresh water here against a river. A fairly substantial river at that. Look at how it flows. Must be some impressive drainage. Okay. It is certainly a name. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that. But yeah, back to the space programs. Project Mercury was the first one. I've already built that. It specifically tested low Earth orbit and environmental systems. Later on, it became realized that more substantial options with regards to okay, so let me get you the Modern Model Works and the laboratory. There we go. So that you can further build. Right. I'm going to give you the engineering school and... I mean, the factory is already a known thing. Okay. Ancient Customs. 30... Nope, nope, nope. You're the new citizen mining camp. Let's get you March. It's unlikely to be too much of a problem, but I'd rather you keep moving, because under most circumstances, you're not going to have problems with healing. I guess that's why I couldn't build the modern mine with these. I'm surprised it took me this long to figure that out. Well, at least now I know. Anyway, build a tree farm here. What was I? Oh yeah. With later missions, it was realized that there are some more advanced hacks like you can do in space that...
You want to put out an oil fire, sir? You set off a bigger explosion right next to it. Sucks away the oxygen, snuffs the flame.
I mean, that's one way to put it out, but there are a lot of ways. Text key building help requires string. I don't know. Okay. Quarantine. Despite what a lot of people might tell you, quarantines are a tried and true tradition for dealing with diseases. 23 people killed. Ooh. I need more advanced medical technology. It's always a necessity. Yeah, there were more advanced tasks that either could not be done by one person, or more likely, could theoretically be done by one person, but was super duper unsafe to do. You'll find this is true for a lot of things. Technically, a lot of things you can technically do with only one person. Doesn't mean that's a good idea to do that. Okay. Okay, somewhere inside of here, it would be reasonable to build a new city. There's a lot of space here that isn't put to use. Although, admittedly, as far as required cities goes, I think I have all of them. Oh, good lord, not again. Hey, thank you. Get back to what you were doing. I need to upgrade the worker so I can actually build a true mine. Well, modernized mine. And here we are again. Okay, maybe I should start settling in entirely new areas. Stop trying to settle and finally put this transport ship back to use. You know what? Yeah. Upgrade you to the latest, which is a landing ship tank. Huh. Okay, so since that's obviously the case, I want a... What's the ecologist again? Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to need a big game hunter. I'm also going to bring along an amphibious APC because those can keep up with the worker units. And then, of course, a modern worker. I could just have an MBT wanderer. Yeah, you know what? Why not? MBT. And then, a worker should be enough, especially if I settle a reasonable spot. Now I just need to figure out where the worker is. In case you're wondering, yes, this is why it's taking a moment. Where could... there you are! Wow, you are pricier there than I expected. But one worker should be fine. Okay, factory. This is a new city, one that doesn't even have any work done to it. So it stands to reason that most of these are going to be very expensive. But either way, the industrial farms is probably the safest, but yeah, it's faster than even the assembly plants that built that. upgrade the two of you. I think that was preventing me from building the geothermal factory. Yeah, almost certainly. Sorry, just need a moment. Okay, I'm back. Yep, there it is. The Manhattan Project. I mean, sure, I'm already traveling into space and working out how to set up space stations. But yeah, now that the Manhattan Project's done, we can start working on the car hinge. But yeah, let's exploit that geothermal energy. Put it to good use. It's Poison, so, perhaps a wonder? I mean, this thing has to be built at some point. So I can just straight up build it in a few of these, sure. Come back in 30-ish turns. Okay, you're gonna have to be waiting for a little while because I'm going to need to bring in a tank as well as a worker. The tank is to protect the worker. Plus, Blitz is very useful, so. Okay, yeah, there is that modern infantry unit wandering around up here. Good lord, 65% defensive bonus. Maybe if I can... Yeah, I think I can divert a tank, at least. The hunter is specifically to deal with the vast amount of animals that are probably going to be in the Antarctic regions. Yeah, that's right now the plan on where to go to next. I don't really have anywhere else to go, in all seriousness, so... Oh, yep, that's all the production buildings in this city. Corridor, okay. Run through a couple of the cheap buildings. there any interesting wonders? Yeah, let's get one of the math theorems. Oh, it's Assyria. Okay. Since you're done with a lot of that, how about building the Gateway Arch? I've been wanting to build that over here for a while, especially since Neonesia is going to be the one with all the cities. After all, it counts as a massive continent on its own, so why not? Of course, the Gateway Arch probably won't be done this session. It's going to be, once again, 3 techs and then we're done. No. Yeah, at some point, I should actually settle this interior region. There is a massive amount of space that's going unused. And I mean massive. The question is whether or not it's worth it to try and find a good river spot to settle on. Oh, I can build new things on salt now. Interesting. I already have almonds. I'd rather build the tree farm. So, there we go. Lunar River built. There's a couple of cheap religious buildings I can build. Nope. Okay. Although Saipon really needs to recover in food, so that and just do all of this. I don't think I really need to give you... Okay. I don't really need to give them promotions because... Yeah. Moon rocks! And no, they're not made of cheese. Yeah, right, I was talking about the space program and then got completely sidetracked and forgot about it. Yeah, that was Project Gemini was when they realized that it was generally difficult and dangerous to just send one person into space on their own because, well, if something happens to injure the person, that would be bad. And there is still a chance of the person making it out if there's another person in there. Plus certain tasks, as I said before, are just safer and or easier to do if there's another person helping out. Axum, can you perhaps do a wonder? London would be cool, but it's kind of expensive here. Let's do the last three animal trainers. Sure. Where's the ones that can be built here? Okay, you need more population, but that's not something I can do anything about. What you do need, however, is the rocket fuel refinery, and probably also the laboratory. Okay. This. I don't need to build the modern waterworks since you already have the aqueduct, so it is unnecessary to actually take the time to build. Nature preserve, not helpful. Salt gatherer is not very useful, but a modern windmill or solar panels, modern windmill. It won't give us. It doesn't have a slight chance for salt or borax to appear, but I don't think I need those. Yeah, the tree farm looks a little bit odd, but it works. Ah, no, we're doing sea lion enclosures. Those are a bit pricey compared to a lot of the other buildings, as long as they're not the Sea Institute. That is a utterly special case. There's one nuisance about a modern mine, though. Unlike the shaft mine, it does remove the forest on the tile. So if there's a forest there you want to keep, don't do it. Okay, so those are some cheap cultural buildings. Let's get this out of the way. Am I missing the rocket fuel refinery? No, just the computer. Okay. Yeah, that was Project Gemini. Just so you know, Gemini also continues the space theme because Gemini is one of the constellations, the twins. Project Apollo came later when they started using three-person crews in an attempt to reach the moon. 3 persons were chosen because, well, it would be best, as per usual, to have 2 people in a dangerous situation that little is known about, namely walking on the moon. But it was realized that trying to put all the equipment necessary to, getting back to Earth onto the moonlander would be a bad idea. Specifically because of weight concerns. Fairly obviously. Something big and heavy. Should probably be carefully placed. You know, Department of Motor Vehicles. I still need to figure out where exactly I should put certain things. Not quite yet. You still need to wait for that worker to come in. And then I can pick one of the southern continent areas to settle. I don't think the game counts it as a single continent, but I certainly will. It just makes sense for there to be a big... If any of the polar caps have a landmass, a visible in-game landmass, then it wouldn't make sense for them all to be the same one because of just the way... I mean, sure, this map is flat. But the tiles up here obviously should be larger. Well, the tiles close to the caps should account for a smaller land area. And by the way, the sheer size of the ice caps implied by this are That's not realistic, for sure. Well, okay. You're gonna be in an icy area, so... Oh, good lord. How much XP did you start with? Field worker, I guess. But yeah, it's size limitations. Anyway, yeah, Apollo, was 3. You want to have, and then, you know, one person still orbiting the moon, so that in case something really bad happens, the mission isn't a complete failure and you lose everyone. Which thankfully never happened. Um, the one exception is Apollo 1, which technically wasn't a space mission. It was ground tests involving the new checking to see if the newly designed um, Apollo modules were reasonable to use. And it turned out that there was a small spark, and the pure oxygen used beforehand for the environment was horrendously ineffective. Well, horrendously dangerous. Because it made it so that any fires that would appear would very quickly get out of control. Very, very quickly get out of control. So in the interest of safety, they moved to well, an oxygen-nitrogen mix that more closely resembles the real atmosphere that we live in. Besides, too much oxygen is just dangerous to your health anyway. Oxygen is literally toxic. It's what causes metal to rust. And the use of it, while incredibly lucrative in the sheer amount of energy you can get out of sugar, it also slowly corrodes away at the structure of your atoms. Just from the sustained damage buildup over time. So you definitely want to be careful about it. Okay, we've got everyone. Nine cargo space. I may only need this one ship. Anyway, I probably should pick the... Okay, yeah, probably this one. The question becomes, what is the best spot to put? I think... Because I'm definitely placing a city on one of these two tiles in the future. And there is a chance that I might put a city on this coastline, but I don't find that likely. If I put it here, then... I still need to ensure that this area, so I'm probably going to put the city here. I still want to reach these, so... I mean... And I won't reach this ice tile if I place it here. But is that really important? I mean, either way, I don't think I'm going to be close enough to reach Mount Everest, and there is that coral reef right on the tile, which is not fun. But it should be able to land the units and go somewhere else without there being too many issues. Hopefully. Okay, is there any wonders that I want you to build? Oh, you know what? Let's give you these national smelters for lead and platinum. There we go. I really should take the time to build some of those national wonders too. Especially as I start to slowly run out of specific buildings to build.
That's no moon. It's a space station.
Space shuttle. Cannot enter cislunar space. I don't think that's actually useful outside of... Can build a space station and then mission reward. Okay, yeah, so I should build a space station. Yeah, okay, so space station level 1. Mirror and Skylab. Yeah, okay. So I definitely should build a space station somewhere in orbit. I doubt I can get it close enough for any of my cities to actually put it to use, because it's technically a tile improvement. Yeah, right. I'm saving astrogeology. Astrobiology will have to wait until I get biological warfare, and astrogeology I'm saving as one of my free techs, since it's not actually specifically useful. Ooh, CERN accelerator. You know what? Let's go for lasers. Lasers are cool. Another time, perhaps. Ah, this is gonna be a game of chase, isn't it? To get those two hunters. An elephant. Well, there you go. No reason not to give you amphibious. But yeah, the Apollo program was the one that eventually led to the moon landing. And there were some, I'm going to say very preliminary plans on setting up a... And the easiest way in order to figure out how to get those would be to build a judge. And then check. So you know what, let's do that first. And then check the cities directly, because it would be certainly faster than trying to look through the building list. See which ones have this, or the ordnance buildings unlocked. That should be good enough for you for the time being. Time zones. How long would it take for you to build a space shuttle? You know what, sure. It's not a big deal how far away it is from space, as long as I get to space eventually. There was also a very preliminary idea of on doing further space exploration, well, manned space exploration, that would involve four-person teams, but that never really came to fruition because, I mean, does it at all surprise you the fact that's the main reason why so much investment was made into the space program by the US was because of the space race with the Soviet Union? Yeah, I mean the same is true of the Soviet Union too. They both did it as a game of one-upmanship. But it's still kind of sad to see that once the one-upmanship was finally done and over with, interest was completely lost. To the point where you have a literal political party named highly inaccurately because real people who actually know politics can tell you that libertarians, the term libertarianism actually comes from anarchists, which have nothing to do with the American Libertarian Party, but the American Libertarian Party literally having the opinion that space travel is unconstitutional, which and is a waste of money, which it certainly isn't. There are a lot of things that we would not have if it were not for the time and effort we invested into space exploration. And focusing purely on the economic gain of doing something often defeats the purpose, especially when it's something in maybe artistic or something. Or scientific, especially with science. Because science has the very interesting property of you come up with unexpected results. Things that you did not expect to work the way they work. Because after all, science is just the exploration of the world around us. Things do not act the way we expect them to. Not necessarily. Sure, some things are very obvious, but still. And it is through the subversion of expectations that we get new insights when we work on science. New ideas, new technologies, etc. Wait a turn. Put you here to mine the tile. Okay. I don't think I need a prostitution ban, but huh. Yeah, I don't see the need to ban prostitution or alcohol. But Clean Water Act sounds great. Let's get another judge out of the way then. Would normally take 6 turns, that's why you build judges. And then I can use the next one to check to see where I can get the new things. Anyway, yeah, unexpected insights in how the world works leads to new ideas and new innovations. Very unexpected ones, too. Lasers, for example, are a side effect of quantum... Was that a monkey farm? Okay, then. Sure, I guess. Nah, I'm not willing to wait 349 turns. Can you use this again? A tofu. Ah. You know what, let's get you a national titanium smelter. That's those things out of the way. Let's get you these two buildings and... Oh, I need a courthouse as well. Right, let me build that courthouse. I do have the odd feeling that the community farm isn't built, so... Ah, it looks like it has been built. So let's see it at a moment's glance. Okay. The courthouse is one of the upper buildings, since it is fairly cheap. There it is. Yeah, we need to build conical canals. Okay. Lab. And I really should build a hospital, shouldn't I? Okay, modern waterworks. I need the chemicals plant. There we go. You've built your mining camp. Okay, ancient customs, and then before that, carpenter, lumber camp. Get all the agroforest buildings too. And after that, university, so I can build the engineering school, because regardless of what happens, the factory isn't that fast. Not yet. Okay, before the reef does any damage to you, head back to the... Well, admittedly, it's probably smarter to send you to here, actually, from here on out. This spot. Where was I? Yeah. Lasers are specifically a very quantum mechanics phenomenon. Okay, let me know. Antelope camp. Well, that gets replaced with a breeding program, so it's not actually a big deal. Okay, that's most of the plus percent buildings done in this city. Let's get that bronze mill out of the way. Ah, it's none to I, so it has some buildings already built. Otherwise would not have had built yet. Yeah, I think that's good enough for the moment, really. Oh yeah, I need to upgrade these. And there. Okay. Yep, I'm able to see. And over here, Clean Air Act. That should reduce, so the Clean Water Act reduces water pollution in all cities. The Clean Air Act should reduce air pollution in all cities. Anyway, take some time to heal. It's really funny is I can actually build military infrastructure here. Anyway, you probably should handle that. And you can go start running around and doing your thing. I mean, it's gonna be a while before anything teleports. to anywhere other than the southern cities of old Ethiopia. So almost certainly, if I'm correct on which one it is. Fermat's last theorem. That is a very simple but deeply informative image. But yeah, lasers are a very quantum phenomenon. I mean, the idea is fairly simple. Waves of similar, if you stack together waves of the same wavelength in just the right way, they will act as if they were one wave with much bigger amplitude. Do this enough times and you'll get a massively powerful wave. And that's what a laser is. I mean, sure, this can be this theory also works for in classical physics. But there's the problem. How do you ensure that the light's always of the exact same wavelength? There is actually no way to ensure this in classical mechanics. However, quantum mechanics has a very interesting specialty. Two of them, in fact. First off, there's only a very specific list of possible energy levels a photon can have, and, well, part of the wave equation is that a wave can only have a specific set of amplitudes. Well, no. Part of the way the wave equation works is that the energy of a wave is a combination of two things. The speed at which the wave object moves and the amplitude, well, and the wavelength. A higher wavelength means more energy, and the faster it is, the more energy it is. But light always travels at the same speed. So the energy of a photon is entirely dependent on its wavelength. That's the only way you can express that. And if you can ensure that a photon always has the correct, and because of these limits, combined with some other things, specifically the way light is emitted by atoms. Electrons themselves within atoms can only occupy specific energy levels. And this is rather important and helpful. That means that when an electron goes to another energy level, if it goes up, it needs to absorb enough energy to do that jump, from which an excellent source of energy is, plain and simple, the... Okay, right, you need the engineering school and the factory. A photon is a very simple source of this energy, but it needs to absorb the correct one, otherwise it will absorb it and then immediately re-emit it, which basically is... it causes the photon to bounce in a different direction. This may end up changing the trajectory of the electron somewhat, but that's not really important if the electron stays within the atom. But if it gets just the right... if it gets a high enough amount of energy from a photon, then it will bounce up and then emit any excess energy. Bounce up to the highest available energy level it can, and then emit any excess energy from the photon. Maybe. I might be misremembering. It could also be that it can only absorb the correct energy level. But what's important is when it goes down in energy level, because it can only do so in specific spaces, specific steps. So as a result, when it does that, it emits a very, depending on which level it jumps to, it emits a photon of a very specific wavelength. This is why For example, lamps made out of that produce light from sodium, the sodium lamps, always have a very specific yellow color to them. And it's extremely specific. This is what I do now. Check every city to see if buttons other than the usual two end up glowing. I think Saipon is the Supreme Court, so it gets the nationwide variations of these. If I turn this off, yep. National prostitution ban and alcohol prohibition. I don't see the point of building that, so I won't. And I'm sure yeah. Some of these might have already been built, the ordinances. Okay, so there's none on Mononesia. How about Ethiopia? It depends on which national wonders I've built where, and admittedly I don't expect to find much more than these two. But yeah, if you can use that and find a material that can easily produce and these wavelengths, then do it long enough, then you have a laser. Which is why ruby is often used, and why red lasers happen to be the stereotypical laser color. Because they were the first material that we figured out how to work properly into producing lasers. I could have sworn I built a National Firefighting Service somewhere. Did I already build the ordinance for it? Let's check out Random City. I need the conceptual buildings. Should be ordinance effect. Okay, so I don't have firefighting either. Clean Air Act is the Department of Energy, which has already been built. The Clean Water Act is Department of Water. Garbage Collection Agency, National Fire Service. Let me check. All cities. Okay. So it's not global. Okay, so if it already has been built, I won't notice it. Oh, that's not good. Well, the National Fire Service should be in the list of national wonders if I haven't built it yet. So, let me just double check that. Okay, but no. It's the Garbage Collection Agency. Department of Motor Vehicles is in the process of being built somewhere. Okay, doesn't seem to be a problem. I need to build the Capital Administration at some point. It's the Department of Motor Vehicles being built. I need to build the Garbage Collection Agency in order to help deal with collection. Need to build a national TV studio at some point. Oh, interesting. Right, wasn't I building the Department of Motor Vehicles? No, that's the smelter. Here? No, I wasn't even building anything there. Constantinople. Okay. And I'll send you over here and put you to sleep there. And had we not done that, we would not have figured out lasers. Or perhaps better put, yeah, maybe there's a better way to put this. It's not that we would not have figured out lasers. We would have realized that they were possible, theoretically, though it would have taken way longer for us to actually finagle something that would work. But now, well, lasers are so easy to make because we've so thoroughly practiced with them. Now you now have laser pointers all over the place. The personal computer is also a direct benefit of space travel. We would not have these otherwise. Double check. Okay, there's a spider here. Right. Then the plan is to go ahead and build everything. Gonna need to put that map to good use. Think. Free building. Well, basically free building. Right, there's another 2 turns probably. I mean, I'm at the point where the animal tails no longer can effectively increase the amount of science I obtain. It's mainly just culture. This can certainly help with the growth of smaller cities. A bit. Admittedly, now that it's only the... I did set the setting so that only the last 100 turns works. Maybe that works. Applies? To the borders of the city. Okay, that's big enough for Pago Pago for the time being. It is a very long queue, though it is somewhat necessary. Okay, mine the tile, now to railroad it. Assembly plant built, now it's time for something new. The levee isn't good enough, neither is the traction engine workshop. Well, the question becomes, is it faster than the hydro plant? Yeah, that's the current question. Okay, 60 is 50% more, 50% of 25 is 12 and a half, so yeah, that's fine. Okay. No. Mm-mm. I shouldn't build that. Okay, the straw gatherer counts. Even if it takes 2 turns-ish, it's fast enough for me to count it. Yeah, the city needs more than just a uranium mine to really get going. But I'm sure in the 33-ish turns it takes to build the hydro plant, it will have something figured out. Anyway, next turn is going to be the last one of the session. We're already at an hour 15 in. Perhaps because I talked about space stuff so much.
The atoms become like a moth, seeking out the region of higher laser intensity.
That has to be for something very specific, isn't it? Say, yeah, let's go for Atom Punk, and then... Yeah, why not? Maybe specify stagger the communism and fascism text, because inevitably I'm going to have some interesting ideas on what to talk about if I do. Okay, it's just the animal trainer. No city queues. Wow. No point building a camp. That's the entire turn. Oh. I wasn't expecting it to be that fast. Wait, why did I do all that? Just build the deep sea lab. I can save the food stuff for later. And settler. There, okay, that's much better. So, I'm planning... That's not the spot. It's also not the spot, it's over here. Yeah. I am planning on settling down here. On this tile where I have the modern infantry in. Neonesia is largely settled. I'm going to have to see how things go once all these cities calm down, because it's quite a few of them. Although Hattuza's is going to take a very long time. 161 turns is nothing to sneeze at. It's bound to take a long while before I can actually put the cities to good use. But yeah, once I manage to clean up a bit inside this interior and get rid of a lot of the barbarians, so that might take a while. I'm going to give it at least 2 more sessions. That's when I'm going to probably start dealing with this. Thankfully, it should be quick. My current transport ship, which I have left over here, actually this spot would be slightly better to sit on, has 9 cargo space, so it can transport 9 units at once. The main army has like 15 units, which I think should be enough with naval assistance to take down any of Sue's individual cities. Admittedly, I do believe their military garrisons are strong enough to present some danger, at least potentially. I don't think they've needed particularly strong units yet. On the other hand, this city has 73 medicine. Why you need this many medical units, I don't know. But yeah, it does seem that the highest strength they have is about... Hiawatha is a hero unit. So it does seem to be about 12-ish with the heavy crossbowmen. And the guards. Broken Arrow is also a hero unit. So, they're special and should not be counted. An outlier, so to speak. Yeah. Anyway, I've built the Gemini. I'm looking into obtaining a space shuttle in the near future in order to build a space station in orbit. And I've also built a moon rock laboratory after getting a space mission reward. Let me check something. Is there anything else that a mission reward lunar can build? Lunar Orbital Platform Gateway. Lunar Outpost, Lunar X Prize, and U2. Oh, okay. Space Probe, Lunar X Prize. Okay, so that one, okay, so this one is machine learning. That one's commercial space flight. Lunar Outpost is lunar bases, which is future stuff. Asteroid belt probes. This is in-space fuel depot and whatnot. Supplies for trips out into the outer solar system. But yeah, I've started building plenty of wonders again. And all that, and yeah. The colonization of the southern continent, which I will name at a later date. If I did name it in the past, I don't remember what I named it, which is annoying, but it is what it is. Anyway, I've definitely gone on long enough. We're at an hour 21. So, I'll see you again next time. Until then.